Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be reviewing the Lamborghini Gallardo LP570-4. Did I say that correctly?
Yep, you forgot the Superleggera part.
Super light.
Yeah, super light. That's exactly what Superleggera means, and it is a super light car, at least for its power and its size. It is one of those super light cars. It's a 5.2 litre V10. Now, unfortunately, I don't know Italian, so I think this is an FSI engine. Remember the Audi R8?
Yeah.
Now, it's all the same company. It's all that Volkswagen company. So I think this is an FSI engine. But it doesn't actually say FSI because it's something in Italian. But I did get the whole direct injection and that stratification.
You're guessing then?
Mostly guesswork, yeah. On my very poor Italian.
Yeah, you don't have to justify it. We'll take your word for it then.
Thank you. And someone's going to point me out in the comments, no, it's not, you're wrong. But yeah, it's a dual overhead cam, like I said, 5.2 litre, V10. I like V10s. We both like V10s.
Before we carry on with specs, we've got a little surprise for you in the second part of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two versions of this car.
The second version is interesting.
Yeah, we've already commented on this. Commented on in the previous video. Well, you commented on it about the Lamborghini.
Yeah, there'll be two versions.
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure whether there were two versions or not. So I did say in that video I think there might be. And then I checked it and I thought, well, let me have a look at these, and then, well, you'll see in about 10 minutes what the other version's like.
Yeah.
570 brake horsepower, 8,000 RPM, nice high revving supercar as you get, and it's got 540 Newton meters of torque, which is, I thought that was quite a bit for a car like this. But
I thought sort of on par with the other sort of supercars / fast cars.
I did then look it up afterwards, and you're right. It is pretty much on point. In fact, it's identical to the Ferrari 458.
Interesting.
And very similar to the Audi R8. Which is interesting because you'd think it would be identical to the R8 having the same company, the same parent company.
But maybe they wanted to sort of differentiate between the two cars.
I think it's the same engine. I think they've just tweaked the engine a bit, which is why, again, I said that I think it's an FSI, because the R8 is a 5.2 litre V10 FSI.
But then that should make it the same. But it's not.
Tuning. Put a new chip in or something.
There you go.
And it's by difference, I mean it's got about a 10 bhp difference. That's about it.
Yeah.
Top speed's almost identical at 202 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And its 0 to 60 time is identical to the R8 with 3.4 seconds, which isn't bad. I think it's about 0.1 of a second slower than the 458. I think the 458 was showing 3.3 seconds.
Four-wheel drive.
Yeah, so it's a quattro.
Yeah.
This is literally an Audi in many ways, apart from the fact that it's not an Audi.
Yeah. I mean, put a comment. I mean, we may be totally wrong, but I think we are leaning on the fact that it is an Audi.
It is. I think it's got a lot of Audi.
In a Lamborghini body.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of Audi parts in it. Obviously, it's going to have Lamborghini handling characteristics and all of that. But I think it's got an Audi engine, Audi style drivetrain, all of that. You know, all the good stuff from Audi and Volkswagen. It also means that it's going to be done in an emission scandal and four-wheel drive.
I was the moment you mentioned VW, I was actually counting down the seconds of when you are going to mention that.
It has to be mentioned, doesn't it? It was like the biggest thing of 2015, and I know that a lot of people are probably going to be watching this in 2016.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing of 2015.
I'm sure other people are involved, but anyway, that's a totally different topic. And
moving away.
Let's not get into that.
Weight.
Yeah.
1,340 kilos, which does bring it to 525 bhp per ton, which is where it does beat the Audi, because the Audi is a bit heavier. Yeah. So it does mean that it has a what do you call it? A smaller power to weight ratio.
And 6 gears, paddle shifted. So as you'd expect, and 19-inch alloys.
Yeah, which I mean, if you look in the replay box, the alloys are really nice. You do have to give to Lamborghini the body styling and all of that. You really do have to give it.
I'm sure I watched the program on Discovery how they make the Lamborghini, and they had a special. Well, they had literally 15 minutes of how they made the alloy.
Yeah.
And it's literally one piece.
Yes, it's a cost. It's cost.
And the way they do it, it's unique to everywhere it's done anywhere else.
All right. Okay. I didn't actually know that. I'm guessing it's using some sort of injection molding or something.
Probably right. Yeah. But I mean,
something like that.
Quite interesting. Yeah.
But it does mean that the weight comes down. So we've got it at 1,340 kilos.
Yeah.
it's actually about 100 kilos lighter than the normal Lamborghini Gallardo, which is hence why it's got the name Superleggera. Because, 100 kilos is, well, what, 1.5 U? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 1.5 U's lighter. So, which means, again, that is a lot of weight, because if you think about it, if you've got a passenger your weight in the car, it doesn't, it doesn't make that much of a difference. And it's got an aluminium space frame, which is what its chassis is like, and it's got aluminium with carbon fiber and thermoplastic parts. So, again, to keep the weight down, they've used as the lightest materials they can find as I slide off. I'll be doing this a lot as I get used to the car.
More so in the next part.
More so in the next part, yeah. This part, I'll say that by the end of this part, I got fairly used to it. I did get fairly used to the car, and then managed to put in, I'd say, a decent lap time. So I was quite happy with that. The thing is, yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I wasn't here last week. I'm just commenting on the track.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
You always like Brands Hatch.
Yeah, I mean, it's done very well.
It's a shame you missed it, because I remember you saying some months ago that if Brands Hatch ever becomes a proper track, you'd love to be the one to review it, and you just happened to be on a training course.
Yeah, I know.
That very week.
Yeah, it was a very long week. Very long week.
Well, we're glad to have you back this week anyway, so I've actually got someone to talk to instead of just talking to myself constantly, as I do in the other videos.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at. I'm sorry, I'm going to let you carry on with the R8. R8?
It's not
Lamborghini. I'm getting confused now myself. Right, the lap itself, the track itself even, I'm very, very impressed with it. I think so far it's probably the best track.
It is.
Isn't it?
It was so good. I gave it a straight 10 in last week's video. It was very, very nice.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I'm actually going to go with you with this one. It's probably the best track out there. I mean, it'd be interesting what the viewers think.
I think they agreed with me.
Oh, okay.
I think we've got a general agreement there. But back to the Lamborghini, like we said, the weight's similar to a 458 or an R8. It's identical to a 458 in power and speed, acceleration and all that. Very similar. So that's the class that it's in. I did find it's harder to drive than an R8. But maybe just a little bit easier than a 458. It's just that little bit less understeer. Okay. Oversteer. And I did have traction control off. So I like driving these with traction control off, hence all the sliding and everything. Because I just think it's, I don't know about you, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, all Lamborghinis are fun to drive.
Yeah, almost all. I think there are the occasional few.
Well, we've not finished the video, but until now, I think for me, all of them so far.
All of them so far in game are definitely fun to drive. Even that boat handling Mura, which once you got used to it, there's a finesse trick.
Yeah, it was a likable feel. It felt like an achievement when you took it around the corner, didn't it?
Didn't you call it a big orange dog?
Yeah, no, big red dog. Clifford the big red dog.
Yeah, but it wasn't red. We were driving an orange one. That's why I think you said. I know what you were referring to, Clifford. Yeah. Some people have no idea what we're on about right now.
Yeah.
But as you can see, I'm spinning it again. Half spin here, that then turns into a half spin the other direction, which turns into a half spin the other direction. Yeah. Fishtailing at an extreme. But you know what? The modelling on this, absolutely fantastic. I think the first thing you looked at it and you thought, wow. Yeah. And then, obviously, your favourite part is the steering wheel.
Yeah, I was looking at the little details such as the carbon fibre at the bottom, and the leather stitching and the grip around the steering wheel. That is very impressive.
I must say, I mean, I'm not.
Even can you actually see? Is that the horn symbol?
Yeah.
The sort of in the sun. I mean, you can actually see the horn symbol.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, I'm not as. Apart from Formula One cars, I'm not as big of looking at steering wheels as you are. But when I saw that, I was like, this is actually. It looks really. It looks the part.
Yeah, the internal aspects of it. It's top notch.
It is.
The dials with that hint of yellow, going towards a red in a 9 and 10.
Definitely.
I mean, and everywhere else, it's just consistent.
It does.
Consistently
it looks very
done
nice.
well.
And the particular paint scheme that I've chosen with the tricolore stripe.
Yeah.
It's I like that. It's one of two. I've got two paint schemes with the two cars that I'm driving here. Yeah. They're my two favourite paint schemes, and I think you'll agree that
the liveries are
they're
brilliant.
so nice.
The liveries
Apart from the standard colours, you've got these two. Brilliant liveries, like you said. Sounds. Well, continuing with the Star Wars theme, it does sound like a TIE fighter again, just like the Huracan. It must be something to do with this particular engine or this type of exhaust system or whatever.
I'm hoping to go and watch Star Wars this weekend.
Yeah, I've already seen it, so I won't spoil anything.
No, yeah, please don't.
I won't spoil anything, and nobody's spoiling the comments box for those who haven't actually seen it yet. But we are coming to the end of this one car. But what we are going to do is we're probably just going to continue talking through, because since both cars are exactly the same car in essence, we might just continue talking a little bit about this car before moving on to the next car, and then comparing it back to this version of the car. But like we said, the sound does have this strange TIE Fighter-ish sound, which again you're going to hear on the second car as well. I really don't know what it is. I think it might have something to do with the reverb. I really think it might have something to do with the reverb on the way it's echoing around the track or something.
It's like you said, it's a whole Lamborghini thing, so it's not. It might be what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could be just exactly what it is. But I tell you what, it does sound good.
Yeah.
It does sound fun. And this car, it had lots of oversteer. I mean, you see me counter-steering quite a bit. Not as much as that Ford though.
No.
The Ford Escort last week. You saw the video.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, this was...
I don't know why, it's got a happy feel to that car.
The Ford Escort.
Yeah, when you're really driving, there's nothing like... You've got to drive it with a smile.
Yeah, you know what? That whole time I was like, oh, this is nice. This is a nice car to drive. This car, don't get me wrong, this is a nice car to drive as well. But the oversteer was perhaps less controllable. And this is my good lap here, so you're going to see that when I did get a handle on it, so I did get a handle on the oversteer somewhat, but you'll still see me counter-steering a little bit. There, you just see me slightly, there you go, just ever so slightly counter-steering. On this corner, you'll probably see me counter-steering more. There you go. And it's just, it's just something that you have to deal with this car. But I'm still going to give this car a 9 out of 10. What do you think?
Yeah, about that much, yeah. I'll probably agree with you on that.
Not as much as the Ford, but it's not. I don't think it's as a good car as a Ford. Like you said, we're not just all about speed.
Yeah,
we're about. It's got to be a fun car as well. So that's the end of this lap. Amazingly, we've actually finished this part of the video on time.
Yeah.
But instead of just saying, "Oh, we're going to see you in a few seconds," we're just going to continue talking, because this car has an alternative variant.
Alternative with speech marks.
Think maybe Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. That good. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, but you can't call it that because they both look the same.
Yeah, that's true. In personality, maybe.
Yeah.
It was here it is.
Yeah.
And on first look,
Exactly the same.
Exactly the
yeah.
same.
Beautiful steering wheel, beautiful interior.
Yeah. I think you'll notice this. It's got red stitching on this particular color set with the black. It's actually got red stitching all the way around.
Yeah, in the grooves.
Which I quite liked.
Yeah.
I like that red stitching. However, that's where the...
Right. Before we go in there, let's just read the specs out. And then people will get a good feel of what it actually is.
Okay.
Right, so this car pushes out 1,250 brake. Yes.
Okay,
yes, 1,250 brake. Yep. In comparison to 570 brake.
So we're talking double.
Double, yeah.
We've also got... The original has 540 Newton meters of torque. This one has 1,200 Newton meters of torque. And it comes in at 6,500 RPM, just like
So
the other
again,
one.
that's double.
Yeah.
The original one had 202 miles an hour, and this one's not double. This one is
404 miles an hour.
No, this one is 218.
Which isn't... That's not bad.
Yeah,
That's sane.
Yeah, about 10% increase.
Yeah, which gives it a 0 to 60 time of 2.5 seconds, which again, that's supercar, hypercar territory now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's something you get off a LaFerrari or something.
Yeah.
2.3 seconds of LaFerrari. Yeah. So, that's what you get. Now, working this out, the original has 425 bhp per ton.
Yeah.
Now, because this car weighs exactly the same, this car has 863 bhp per ton.
That is double and a bit more.
Yeah. And all they've done is added 2 turbos, put some strange chip in the engine, I don't know what,
and stiffer springs
and dampers.
Yeah.
So the question is, why? Why would you do that to this car? I'm assuming you'd do it because it's fun. You'd think a 1,200 bhp car, it's got to be good in some which way. It's probably gonna grip like mad. It's gonna be a really, really fun car to drive. You're gonna have fantastic acceleration. You're gonna be on the brakes really hard, going into corners, sliding it. exactly what you'd expect of a really maybe a Bugatti Veyron territory or something like that.
Yeah.
Because this is the low end of a Bugatti Veyron territory with this power. Yeah, it wasn't. It really wasn't. And at the moment, I'm only on, I think, 60% turbo. So you can see when I actually hit the accelerator, you're going to notice. Can you see the turbo bar, the orange bar? It's only going up part way.
It's not really. I know what you're saying.
So this is only 60% turbo. Wait till I actually hit the 100% turbo button on the car. It's well, you can see right now I'm struggling to drive the car, but I thought maybe I just need to get used to it being a bit more powerful, and so on and so forth. Yeah, no.
I mean, when you told me about this car, I thought, wow, that's interesting. I was actually looking forward to, well, I'm looking forward to see what it could push out, but I'm not impressed with it.
Likewise, and I don't think many people are. Am I going to switch to 100%? There you go. Nope, that was virtual mirror. I switched on the mirror before this is how much of a panic it put me into. I switched on the mirror before I went into it. Now I've got 100% turbo. Now watch the acceleration. 130, 140. Now I'm hitting the brakes. Now, when we go around, when we go up to the first corner, I keep forgetting the names of these corners. I knew them last week and I've forgotten them again. Right? Now look at the speed that I carry into this. 160 miles an hour, then I've got a brake. Come down into this corner. Obviously, you're not gonna brake for that.
I think this car is for the NASCAR racing circuits.
Even then, you don't. NASCAR, going around in an oval. I don't think this car can turn. Yeah. I honestly don't think this car can turn.
I've noticed that when the cars have a lot of power, they're only good in straight lines.
Yeah, like a Veyron, basically. Veyron's incredible in a straight line or a massive circle that stretches halfway around the circumference of the Earth or something.
Yeah.
But
what's the largest one? Is it 8 miles?
The Nardo Ring, yeah. It's a Nardo Ring. Volkswagen. I think it's 8 miles.
Yeah.
It's an 8.
It's where Top Gear did the.
Yeah, it's called the Nardo Ring. It's one of Volkswagen's things, I believe. There's also another one which is it's like a 2 straight stretch. I think it's I don't know how many miles it is, but it's 2 straights with a banked corner.
Okay.
And I think Gran Turismo actually replicated this as a separate kind of track, as their own fictional one, which is basically 2 massive straights.
Was it the nighttime one?
Yeah,
I remember it.
It's in Gran Turismo 6, but it's actually a replication of a real track that actually has the similar characteristics. But again, that's what these cars, like you said, that's what they're good for. Brands Hatch, as you see, I've just gone sliding off at God knows what speed.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know why they made this car. I still can't figure out.
I don't know. Good things about the car. There's an additional turbo noise, and there's some tweaks to the engine volume, so it does sound like a different car slightly. You've got that turbo noise. It was odd though when you actually let off the accelerator and listen to it. Strange noises coming off.
Yeah.
I think it's got something to do with how much power is going through this turbo and the exhaust gases and all that kind of thing. But I'll tell you something. I'm going to say this straight out. This car is a pile of junk. It's
not a pile of junk. It's not nice to drive.
It's a pile of junk. I have never ever driven a car I've disliked this much before.
Well,
and that is counting
even
mods.
Even when you look at it,
looks wise and all that, it's the same as the other Lamborghini. So I'm not even going to consider that, because the idea of this S3 version was not to look different, but it's to feel different. The S3 version's got different physics. It's got different engines, different suspension. That's what it's got. Yeah. Looks wise, sound wise, it's predominantly the same. Okay, I get one good slide out of it. Sound wise, it's predominantly the same. Looks wise, it's exactly the same. Texturing, the liveries, everything, the colors that are available are exactly the same. It's the physics, it's the suspension that's different, and they are absolutely horrible. It's like, I think this may have been Kunos' idea of a joke, especially considering that when you look at the specs when you're selecting the car, under the torque figure, it doesn't give you a figure. It says lots ! Newton meters. So I think this is some idea of a joke, because it is that bad a car.
Yeah, or maybe just a Christmas present.
This car? No, I'd say the Escort was a Christmas present. The Escort's beautiful, and even the first version of this Lamborghini, the standard version, is lovely. This is just, again, I'm going to say it, a pile of junk. And I think a lot of people will agree with me with that fact. I'm not saying that there isn't any fun to be had with it. you can have fun with this car in certain conditions. You know, some slides you can probably have fun with, and all of that. But apart from that, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not gonna say it's a pile of junk.
you didn't drive it. That's why.
Yeah, that could be that as well. It's different.
It's very different.
It's one of them cars you drive once and say not for me.
Yeah, that's the.
And I think that's and the fact that it might be a good car because you appreciate the original even more.
That's okay. If you want to turn it like that, that's a good way to put it, because you do appreciate the normal Superleggera.
And also for the speed, you know, the people that love driving at mad speeds might be thinking, hang on a sec.
Yeah, but you're only gonna be able to drive this in a straight line.
You know what I'm saying is people say, hang on a sec, speed is not everything.
Yeah, that's true. It's gonna
So-
yeah. I mean, what this does have, this has Formula One styles and levels of acceleration and speed.
Yeah.
That's what it does have.
And control.
What it doesn't have is Formula One styles of control.
And handling, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a great driver, but I'm a fairly good driver, and I can control a lot of these cars. Even Formula One cars, you know, first time in, couple of laps in, I can get a decent grip of how these cars are going to drive, their limits and all that. This car just didn't have anything, and not once did I have fun driving the car. Even at the end, which I think we got about 2 laps. In 2 laps time, I do manage to, as you can see, I'm spinning off everywhere. In 2 laps time, I managed to get a decent lap, and I have to say that lap I think was 4 seconds faster than the standard Lamborghini.
Wow. Okay.
So it's very fast considering this is a short track.
Yeah, but I mean, so if you know how to control this car, you can do really well with it.
But I figured out how to control the car. I think I did, 4 seconds down. I didn't enjoy it. I would rather have the other Lamborghini with the slower lap time, because you know when I was driving the other Lamborghini, there was the odd fidgety moment and all of that. With this car, the whole time you were fidgeting with the steering wheel. The whole time you were gripping the steering wheel. I was gripping the wheel so tightly because I knew that with that kind of power, the slightest turn and it was just gonna go. And there was no way I was gonna be able to stop it, because if I tried to counter steer and then put some power down in the opposite direction to try and get it back, it's just gonna spin off in the opposite direction. I didn't like that, and I thought, well, that's no good. Maybe if you had stickier tires, full on slicks, maybe then it would have been quite a good car. I don't know. Maybe someone can mod in some slick tires for it. I don't know if it's possible to add extra tires. If someone could mod in slick tires, it might be worth driving. But right now, I think all the GT3 cars beat it. All the other cars that we've ever driven beat it. Apart from maybe, I don't know. Maybe there might have been one car that doesn't.
So I'm guessing you're not going to give this car a 10.
No, I'm not going to give this car a 10. No, definitely not a 10, because I'm not going to consider the looks and the sounds or any of that, because it's the same as the other one.
Yeah.
For that, it's still a 9.
Yeah.
For that part, but for what it's designed to do, there you go. I'm backwards again. And the thing is, on this one, I was actually 4 seconds up at this time, and then I lost it. And I'm thinking, come on, it's ridiculous. Okay, granted, that is a tough corner. Loads of people have gone off there. Formula One drivers have crashed off at that corner as well. Famously, Nigel Mansell. But that was in a Formula One car.
Yeah.
This is in a Lamborghini that really shouldn't be doing this. So 1 more lap to go, and you've made your comments about Brands Hatch.
Yeah.
And you still, I think you're completely right. It's such a nice one.
It is.
And I've said that it's going to be 9 for the standard Superleggera. That's well worth a try. I think that's another really good car for the Dream Pack. What about this car?
I'm going to give it a 6.5/7.
Okay, well, what's your...
Because of the fact that you're saying it's not finished, maybe if you put slicks on it
Yeah.
and a tweaks here and there, it could even be up there as an 8 or a 9.
You think? Yeah, maybe if you had
Yeah.
slicks, if it was possible, because obviously then you'd have far more grip.
Yeah.
And you'd probably be able to actually get that power down instead of constantly counter-steering. I'm gonna just do it. 5.
Wow. 5.
5. This was not a car I would ever drive again. I don't intend to ever drive this car again.
Unless they change it.
No, I still don't intend to drive. I don't want a car with 1,200 bhp that drives like this. It reminds me of one car that we had in Gran Turismo that had stupid amounts of power, but it was like not very fun to drive. This reminds me of that. And as we come around this final corner, final corner, we've got one more corner after this. I'm gonna say thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. We'll get to part 3 of Dream Pack 3 next week, and well, it'll be 2016, so I hope you guys have a very happy new year.